Morning guys, Moorhuhn here. Today we are taking a look at Runecannons. So what are we looking for in this video? We are taking a look at the subclass of, well, guns overall, or Runecannons in specific. We're taking a look at the Eagle Eyes, we're taking a look at the aligned gear bonuses of the current indie game Runecannons. We're taking a look at the Runecannons, the Duskbriner, the Vesper-III, the Requiem and the Arcstorm. So let's take a look at the subclass overall. The subclass Marksman Runeccannon is equipped with a Runeccannon that has 4 shots in the magazine. It can reload after 4 shots or whenever you like to, and has a reload minigame. Though when you reload you can activate the reload with either left click when the last clip is out or the R button to just initiate the reload, and you can complete the reload with the same. If you use the R button, you just finish the reload. If you use the left click, you finish the reload and instantly shoot if you hit a perfect reload. Also, if you do hit a perfect reload, you gain a 50% weapon power buff, which is huge. The heavy attack of the Runeccannon is just a melee stagger on knockback, and the jump attack is a heavy jump AoE. Though with the Runeccannon you don't really want to use the melees all too much, except for the Dread Legion fight, because the Runeccannon is the gun with the weapon overall with the highest range in the game. And a nice gimmick, it also has, it ignores 50% armor. So it is very good at just high damage weapon power focused builds. So next on, we are taking a look at the Eagle Eye. Eagle Eye is a meter that you cannot directly see, but it builds up over shots. Usually takes about 7 to 10 hits on enemies to generate an Eagle Eye. Then you can hit that with a precise shot, though it doesn't have to be too precise on Runecannons, just the general direction should be enough. And then you generate one locked and loaded charge. These charges can be used for your weapon ability, and depending on the weapon you are using, it uses up to 3 charges. So usually it uses either 1 or all you have. And the ability you're doing depends on the weapon, though we're taking a look at the abilities in a moment. For now, we want to take a look at the aligned gear bonuses of the different weapons, because we have 4 different ones: the Duskbringer, the Vesper-III, the Arcstorm and the Requiem. For the Duskbringer, the Instinct has a very good weapon power primary, the Discipline is a good focus secondary, and the Focus is a good AP primary. So you can play either a weapon power or an ability power focus build with the Duskbringer, and you usually want to take the Discipline as the secondary if you want to go ability power, or you go focus as secondary if you want to go weapon power. Then for the Vesper-III, you have a decently good weapon power and crit build. Ability power is not that great here because, I mean, you can do it, but it will suffer from quite a low ability power rating. The Instinct is a decent AP primary, but I would overall not want to go. But if you want to go AP with the Vesper, you would go AP Instinct primary and secondary Discipline, though you always have to look at the perks, of course, but that would be the general choice. If you want to go weapon power, you go for Focus primary and Instinct, and Discipline secondary. Generally you use Discipline as secondary on pretty much all of the options, but the Focus, weapon power primary and Discipline secondary is a very strong option with weapon power and crit rating, which just pairs up very well. Arcstorm as third option is pretty good for AP or for ability power in full, because, well, you can see it has ability power and weapon power on the same slot, but a very low weapon power rating. Though here you have to take the numbers with a grain of salt, because it's a low Arcstorm, but even though if I had it on 38 it would not be the exact numbers, because I do have some awakening in the Arcstorm. So take the numbers with a grain of salt here. Though you pretty much just want to take the Discipline as primary for the stats of ability power, and then you can go either Instinct as a secondary or Focus as a secondary if you take Instinct as primary for a purely crit focus build with max health, crit rating and crit power. There you can go weapon power or ability power, though you will suffer quite a bit from the low weapon power if you don't take any points in discipline. For the Requiem, it is a very good crit and AP focus because you have the Instinct, critical power and crit rating, which is an extremely good primary for crit generally. Then you have a decent AP primary on discipline, though a physical defense on a very strong ability power is kind of strange because usually you don't really take a lot of physical damage when you go abilities. But yeah, you'll have to test out a bit. For the focus, it's just not a very good slot. You have magical defense and then weapon power very low. It's just usually you do only go focus here if you really need a perk of the character you are playing. Though that's it for the alignment via bonus. Let's take a look at the weapons themselves. So the Duskbriner is a weapon which has a fairly interesting weapon ability, the Vortex. It creates a huge AoE after a short flight duration, which uses up one charge of your locked and loaded charges, and then you just can create a good AoE to clear enemies or drop multiple on a boss to just burst him down. These AoE stack on the same enemy, and so you can put 3 vortexes down onto a single target for stationary bonus damage. Though if the enemies jump out of it or use a movement, you might lose a lot of damage there. The Vesper is a very defensive choice here. It creates a null zone, very comparable to the Wingrave ability that creates a zone, though it is stationary. So you just drop it down, it uses up all charges, and depending on the amount of charges, the zone gets bigger and deals more damage, because all enemies that are inside the zone will take a damage over time, though the damage is very low, so you don't really want to use it for damage. You just want to use it to block off strong abilities of bosses mostly. So let's take a look at the third one, which is the Arcstorm. You have seen this already a little in the beginning, and it pretty much just is a piercing beam with a very high range, though the damage isn't all that great. So if you're weapon focused, the ability doesn't really deal more damage than the attack itself, but it is possible to create a very quick combo with just a basic attack, arc beam, basic attack, which is slightly faster than 3 basics attacks. So yeah, you just get some bonus damage in there. And last but not least is the Requiem. The Requiem is like chaining up the enemies, and non-boss enemies get locked in place here. Boss enemies do not get locked up, but it spawns like a little watcher that just shoots a beam, which is a huge damage increase. Like a single target, this thing is massive. Just want to try to keep the Eye of Judgment up at all times against bosses. Just shoot one charge, generate more, shoot again when it's running out, and so forth. It's just a very consistent damage boost. Because even though you have to dodge or jump around, the beam will always go and deal damage. This is a very strong weapon ability, and out of all the abilities, most likely the best bossing ability by far. So that's it for today. We have taken a look at all of the Runecannons here. It's just 4 currently, so it's not all that much. But if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.